Kempire is brought to you by...
We are so excited to announce that the Kempire After Dark, a live tour, is coming back. We are first returning to Los Angeles on November 20th at the Bourbon Room. And then we will be in London. Yes, the first international date of the Kempire After Dark live experience is coming to London, of course, because this is where it all began at our first meet and greet. On December 8th, we will be at Neon 194. This live show is presented by our friends over at AEG. So if you haven't gotten your tickets already, what are you waiting for? December is right around the corner. Every Kempire After Dark live experience is so different than the other. So make a trip, or if you live in London, come to the Kempire After Dark live experience. And just announced, Washington, D.C., we're coming back. We're coming back. Yes, we're coming back to Union Stage, Washington, D.C. Come out. Get your tickets are now available. Let's sell out all 3 shows for 2024 and the early part of 2025. We'll be in D.C. on January 24th. More information on all tour dates will be available in the description. I'll see you guys soon.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Sorry. Hey, y'all. Happy Halloween. I almost forgot it was Halloween. So I had to come up with a costume. Do you like it? Okay. All right. Did I do that? Oh, sorry. All right. This is our weekly recap of Real Housewives of New York City and Salt Lake City. Okay? All right. All right. Shout out to everyone already in the live chat. We appreciate you all being here, okay? Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Let me know where you're watching from. And I promise you, I won't be using this voice the entire time, okay? Okay. Are my glasses straight? I don't know. I'm kind of feeling cross-eyed today. Hey, y'all. Happy Scorpio season. Happy Halloween. Happy birthday to my mom. Sorry. Okay. I'm really trying to be normal here, but it's really hard, okay? It's really, really, really hard. Steven Spielberg, I'm ready for my close-up. Okay, fine. All right. I hope everyone's having a fabulous day. My name is Kempire. This is the Kempire YouTube channel. And today we are sponsored by our friends over at Uncommon Goods. Sorry. Well, if you've been looking for a really great gift, the holidays officially start after today. So once Halloween's over, we're going to officially start holiday stuff, okay? All Christmas stuff, all the Halloween stuff is going to disappear. So you might need a gift. And our friends over at Uncommon Goods has something for everyone and every price point, okay? So spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it easy and makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list. All in one spot. Gifts that spark joy, wonder, delight, and that it's exactly what I wanted feeling. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. They scour the globe for original, handmade, absolutely remarkable things. Somehow, they know exactly the perfect gift for every single person you know. So, you know we love to support small businesses, and that's what we love about Uncommon Goods. They support small businesses. But because they're small businesses, all those gifts are very, very unique. I even got one of those unique things. So, of course, we had to bring you a discount. So, to get 50% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/Kempire. That is uncommongoods.com/Kempire for 15% off. Don't miss out on the limited time offer. Uncommon Goods. We're all out of the ordinary. Okay. All right, so shout out to Uncommon Goods. More information on them will be available in the description, along with more details about the Kempire After Dark live experience. So Kempire After Dark is coming to a city near you. It's coming to Los Angeles on November 20th, and then we're coming to London. Can you believe it? I can't wait. All right, so we'll be there December 8th in London, and then on January 24th, we're coming back to Washington, D.C. More information on Kempire After Dark will be available in the description. I'm so excited. Okay. You think I can keep this up for the entire live? Probably not. Okay. Guys, welcome back to the Kempire channel. I swear, I probably will be, I think I have multiple personalities, so I probably will be flipping in and out of this personality, sort of like Urkel and Stefan. So every once in a while I'll be sexy. And then back to a mess. Okay. I like being messy. I think messy is going to be great for this recap of the Real Housewives of New York City. All right. So, last week we asked the question, is New York City over? And all of you said yes. Go to Instagram and go to Bravo's latest New York City post about the Real Housewives of New York City. Go to it. Read the comments, because I was not prepared for the comments to be dragging this show. I honestly believe, very much like what Femtaro said, this show's going to get canceled. I don't think they're going to come back. And if they do come back, it's going to be a major cash shakeup. But I will say I didn't dislike this episode as much as I disliked last week's episode. I don't know if that's saying much. But this cast, honestly, Aaron was the most unlikable. Okay, maybe Bryn probably more, but Aaron's forced beef with Jenna, I did not see coming. It doesn't feel real. Now I don't believe anything coming out of Aaron's mouth. I don't know if the drama with her and her husband is even real. I just don't understand why they have to be so pre-produced. Like, just tell your real story. Or is your real story too much for us to handle? I don't know. Sidebar. You know what I love seeing? Randomly seeing videos of Jenna Lyons or Rebecca Minkoff on social media before they were officially on Real Housewives of New York, just them being businesswomen. And I saw a video of Rebecca Minkoff talking about how she became who she is today when it comes to fashion. And that's far more interesting than anything that they're sharing on the show. And look, we have to remember, the Housewives give of themselves to this show. The network and production decides what they want to film and what they want to keep in and keep out. So I don't blame them 100%, the Housewives. But seeing these videos of like Jenna just being a boss, like we get to see a little bit of that in one of her many jobs that she has. We see her being an editor at large at this magazine and seeing her inspiring other young women to do what she's done. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Uba. Uba, where can I buy the art? I was like so shocked. Like Uba just started doing this over the pandemic. And her art, I would buy that. I would hang that up. I have a new apartment with plenty of wall space. I would buy that. I love her talking about loving America and what it represents for her and the fact that she's able to build the life that she's been able to build. She says you can only do that in America. Sidebar, speaking of America, don't forget to vote. November 5th, early voting has started in many places, including here in New York City. Vote.org to make sure you're still registered. Just saying. So I liked those scenes. I liked seeing Uba and Raquel talk about, there was a time where there could only be one black model at these agencies. One. We've come a long way, probably because of people like Raquel and Uba paving that way, saying like, there could be more than one of us, which I think has led to the competitive thing that we see the industry, and not just the modern industry, but entertainment, music, where they feel like there can only be one. There can only be one female rapper. There can only be one, Tyra Banks. And that's what they did with Tyra Banks and Naomi. Naomi just played into it, allegedly. Just saying. So I enjoyed seeing those moments on Real Housewives of New York City. What else happened in this episode? Okay. I have to write. Oh, no. One of my favorite moments, and I said this before because I know a lot of people do not like Sai. However, what I appreciated from Sai last season is that she gave us a lot of story last season. She really did give us. I know a lot of people didn't like how she treated Jessel, but other than that, like her own personal story, her talking about her mom, we see a picture of her mom. Sai looks just like her mom, but we also know that Sai's mom struggled. And her mom passed away a couple of years ago. And so she's bought this home up in in upstate. So I'm wondering. I would say they will eventually go up there as a cast and film there. I just don't think the show will be on long enough for that because she's still in the middle of renovating this upstate home. A lot of people during the pandemic bought homes upstate. But they showed us that bathroom. That bathroom, I'm sorry, Sai, I didn't like the bathroom. As soon as I saw it, I said, ew. I was like, who said this was cute? But look, fine. Some people like it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not my house. I was just like, it's too much. But I was so happy that we got to see Sai's husband. He's always been the voice of reason. He's just so level-headed. We haven't seen him all season. It's only, episode 5. But we haven't seen him all season. And I was just like, oh, there he goes. So they're going out shopping because she's like, Whole Foods is killing me. It's killing us all. Look, and I don't mean just the price. I mean, the products aren't what they used to be when Amazon didn't own it. They're not. Anyone that has been a Whole Foods connoisseur for a long time can tell you that. The products there, check the ingredients. They're not what they used to be, unfortunately. How's Trader Joe's? The only thing about Trader Joe's that I hate, they're not as expensive, but they're always so crowded, and I don't like crowds like that. And I'm also not getting up at the crack of dawn to go grocery shopping. Especially because then you go grocery shopping when you're hungry and then you're buying all the wrong things. But a lot of people love Trader Joe's. A lot of people love Trader Joe's. I also feel like if they had more Trader Joe's, it probably wouldn't be as busy. I feel like at least here in New York City, there aren't a lot in proximity to each other. Depending on where you live. Look, depending on where you live in New York. Anyways, I've taken a whole dive somewhere else. Okay. Kalani says, am I in a minority? I like Sai. I like her too. To me, she's probably one of the only people on this cast that really feels like New York. Train with Maine says, I actually love Sai and her family. I hope she doesn't get burned with the fakery of this show. She's a good wife. I feel like she's not getting burned with the fakery of the show, but I don't know if I necessarily believe her whole therapy and what she's doing now. Maybe she is. I hope she is. I think that it's healthy. I just don't know if I believe it 100%. I don't know if I believe it 100%. But I loved seeing her aunt. I loved her aunt. Her aunt is back this season. I loved her from last season. She's back this season because they want to take... Her husband suggested, how about we plant a tree with some of your mom's ashes? Anyone else had this thought, though? I thought to myself, I was like, I hope they're not putting all the ashes under that tree. Because then I said, what if y'all end up selling the house? What if y'all end up selling the house? I'm like, I don't want all my, relatives' ashes somewhere else. Unless you don't, look. That's no longer them. But anyway. So they plan on bringing the urn up to upstate. And she says that she feels like keeping her mom in the closet in a box is not the way that she wants to keep her mom. She doesn't want to say anything during this whole ceremony that they have. Her kids are there. We haven't really seen her kids this season. They're getting emotional. Her aunt is getting emotional. Sai is emotional. I even shed a little bit of a tear. Right? I even shed a little bit of a tear. I was like, this was really beautiful. Because if you remember Sai's mom's story, it was pretty sad. And how Sai grew up. And so Sai creating what she's created outside of, just, marrying who she married, but like her own career and her own space, it's pretty inspiring for other people that come from where she comes from. So I thought that was really, really nice to see. It was probably one of my favorite scenes. I also love seeing Uba show because remember, Raquel not only was a model, she's also an art buyer. So she came to see Uba's art, and Uba, that's some pretty damn, I'm serious. I want to buy some. I already saw 2 pieces that I wanted. So I love seeing that scene. We have Jessel. She's planning a Clueless party. As you know, they started the episode off with this whole Clueless theme. So Jessel's planning her birthday party, and it's going to be a Clueless theme, and she's going to have multiple outfit changes. Honestly, after the Clueless party, for me, I felt as if it reminded us that Stacey Dash's character really was that girl. Really was that girl. Because her outfits, if you saw that coming down the street, you'd be like, Oh, I know who that is. Cher's outfits, some of them, like certain, like that you saw on the posters and things like that, might stand out to you. But I was like, oh, look at that. When Brynn came in, who else had like another outfit? Oh, I can't remember. But Sai. Sai had another look inspired. And I was just like, those looks really stood out. And those looks really, really stood out for me. And it just reminded me, it was like, oh no, that character, Stacey Dash's character was the best. Was the best on the show, especially fashion-wise. Anyways, so Jessel, Aaron, and Brynn, they meet up and because they want to shop for this party. And this is where Brynn talks about she wants an apology from Sai. She's not happy with Uba. She's like making fun of Uba's how Uba was acting in the Hamptons. Like, nah. She's like, grown adults don't do that. Grown adults don't act that way. We still are not happy with you, Brynn, and how you were trying to suppress who Uba is. Like, you don't want to come across as the angry black woman on television, or that way to her white boyfriend. And then some of you were tagging me on TikTok about this interview that Brynn did. I forgot to save it here. And how she referred to, she's like, when I was a little girl, my hair, sometimes when you would let it out, it would look like Rudy Huxtable. So all of us were like, Rudy Huxtable's hair? What was wrong with Rudy Huxtable's hair? So, I had to Google schmoogle Rudy Huxtable's hair, and I said she had luxurious, thick, beautiful black hair. What was wrong with Rudy Huxtable's hair? So a lot of people are like, see, this is another reason why I don't F with Brynn. So Brynn in this scene is just talking about how she's not happy with Uba. She says that Sai is a miserable person that lives under a bridge. I just don't really think Brynn realizes that she's coming across as the miserable person this season. Everyone else is getting along and having a good time. You're the odd man out. You're coming across miserable. And honestly, when I thought about what she said about Sai living under a bridge, I said to myself, especially when you know Sai's story, where her mom and things like that, I was like, that feels a little, but all right. Look, all right. Okay. And yes, we do know that Brynn is black when she wants to be. That's the way it's giving, Brynn. That's the way it's giving. We talked a little bit about this. I dropped by What Else Is Going On podcast with Taria Faison. You can see the YouTube version here on YouTube, but you can also hear it on her podcast, What Else Is Going On podcast with Taria Faison. We had over 2-hour conversation about everything. And I mean everything. So be sure to check that out if you missed it. All right. I did post it on our community tab here on YouTube. All right. All right. Okay. Let me see what you guys are saying in the live chat. Guys, don't forget to like the video. It's easy and it's free. We're talking about the Real Housewives of New York. We're going to talk about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City in just a second. So at that meeting where Brynn, Aaron, and Jessel, Aaron starts to lay the groundwork for the scene that she's trying to produce. Aaron says that, what, I'm not really happy with Sai, well, more so Jenna, because Jenna and Sai apparently had lunch. And she's like, I just feel like, Jenna hasn't been there for me. And already I'm like, what are we doing? Are we trying to spark some sort of unnecessary beef? Now it's beef between Aaron and Jenna. And honestly, I blame producers. I blame production. You, Eric Fuller. Formerly of Real Housewives of Potomac and Atlanta, because immediately when Aaron started trying to produce this scene about her issues with Jenna, I would have been like, wrap it up. No, we don't care about this. The audience is not going to care about this. Stop trying to self-produce. Immediately when she started talking about her issues with Jenna, I was like, here we go, another week with a nonsensical fight, a beef. And look, I'm not going to take away from Erin that she is going through things. Her mom is battling cancer, okay? However, it just felt like your beef now is with Jenna because Jenna's hanging out with Sai. Yes, we know Sai said that she hated Jenna, but they've been trying to bridge a gap. We haven't really seen Jenna and Sai being the best of friends this season for you to get in your feelings. Oh, you feel like Jenna hasn't been there for you. Okay, fine. Let's fast forward to this party, okay? What did you guys think of the party? Like, when you think about classic New York City days, Real Housewives of New York City days, I can literally go through so many parties in my mind over the last few years from the OGs. And I'm just like, those were like moments and moments. I think maybe we need to wrap up Real Housewives because so many people come on these shows thinking that they are going to paint their own narrative and self-produce. It's no longer authentic. And even though I think Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is great, I see them producing too. I see them producing as well. High Vibe says, High Vibe, you've been a member for 38 months? Thank you so much for your support. Okay. High Vibe says, I did not appreciate the way that Brent mimicked Uba in that little shopping trip with Jessel and Aaron. It felt very anti-black. Just saying. There's a lot of little things. And honestly, I wonder if production really did film in the Hamptons when Brent was talking to Uba and talking about you're going to come across as the angry black woman. And they decided to give Brent some grace and not include it. So I wonder if it really was off camera. But I will say Brent is not having a great edit. And Brent's whole personality, and I know a lot of people already said this last season, they were over this like fakery that she was doing. But I can see through the cracks this season. She wants to call everyone else miserable, but she looks like the only miserable person. Everyone else is miserable, but everyone else is getting along. Besides Aaron and her pre-produced storyline this episode. Rahina, thank you so much for the super chat. Rahina says, Kempire, I'm finally off. Keep missing your lives, but I'm watching the Real Housewives of New York is a snooze fest. Rahina, thank you so much. Are you off for the day or are you off for the week? Okay. Happy Halloween to those that are here. We appreciate your support. Shout out to everyone celebrating. This is the most you're going to get from me for celebrating. Did I do that? Sorry. Oh, I should have put tape here. Damn it. This was very last minute, okay? All right? Very last minute. Love Calm Peace. Thank you so much for the super chat. Love Calm Peace says, can you put your glasses on straight? I'm OCD. Why? They are on straight, Love Calm Peace. What are you talking about? They are on straight. What are you They're not on straight? What do you mean they're not on straight? Now I'm Stefan. What do you mean? What? I don't know what you're talking about, Love Calm Peace. They are on straight. Ooh, I'm going to be working that OCD. Happy Halloween, guys. Shout out to anyone that celebrates. Happy Scorpio season as well. All right? Okay. Let me see. Okay, sorry. Trauma Queen says, I hate Halloween. Me too. I don't love Halloween either. Halloween is not my holiday. I think I've talked about that before. I'm like, I do not love Halloween at all. Okay? It's not my holiday. But I thought, okay, we're having a live show. We need to do something for Halloween. This is the only thing I could conjure up in the last couple of minutes. Okay. Shay says, yes, you need a flannel. My flannel's all stored away. It's like 80 degrees here in New York City today. All right. Oh, thank you. Mama Ali says, with your glasses straight on, you look like a sexy dentist. Thank you. All right, guys, don't forget to like the video. It's easy and it's free. Jessica, thank you so much for the super chat. Jessica says, I'm finally here. Boo, Bryn needs to go with her entitled self, and this is why Shep didn't want her. Damn. Jessica. Look, this might be the reason why she's still single. Beautiful woman, but still very much single. We're starting to see. Remember the guy that she had on that was a guy that she was engaged to? We even saw him in this episode. He seems like a lovely human being. This is why y'all never got married. And I don't believe it was you making that decision. All right. All right. What else did I want to say? All right. Let's talk about Real Housewives of New York City, Jessel's birthday party. She had multiple outfit changes, talking about miserable. Brynn, in her confessional, talked about, like, why is she changing so many times? Honestly, like, I don't love Jessel all the time. It's her birthday. How does Jessel changing multiple times affect you? How does it affect you? And she was so miserable, Brynn, that she ends up, I have a spray tan appointment, so I have to leave early. Yes, please leave, because you're like a dark cloud. You swear that you're the happy-go-lucky disposition, and it's the complete opposite. You're clearly projecting. AV said, AV, gorgeous photo, AV. AV says, Brynn is problematic. She uses her blackness when it suits her. That sex kitten persona is getting old. I think she also is jealous of Uba's relationship. No exciting storylines yet for New York. Perfect. This is such a perfect way of explaining what's going on with her. Okay. Exactly, Gigi. Okay. Guys, don't forget, we will be coming to Los Angeles on November 20th. Have you gotten your tickets yet? Are you coming to Los Angeles? Maybe you're traveling from somewhere else. Let us know in the live chat. We'll be coming to the Bourbon Room on November 20th for the Kempire After Dark live experience. Then, next month, well, technically, December 8th, we're coming to London. London, don't wait. Don't wait. Get your tickets today. More information on both shows will be available in the description. Then we're coming for the new year. We're coming back to Washington, D.C., at Union Stage. Union Stage will be there. So tickets are now on sale for that show as well. All right. Remember last time we sold out. So don't wait. Some of you said, I didn't know you came to DC. Don't wait. Don't wait. All right. More information on that and everything Kempire will be available in the description. Shout out to those of you that sending cash outs, Venmos, PayPals, things like that. I see that normally whenever I go to check. So thank you to those that have sent something in the past. We appreciate it. Sassy, thank you so much for the super chat. Sassy says, Happy Halloween. I caught it live. Sassy, thank you so much for being here. Happy Halloween. What are you guys doing for Halloween? I have no idea what I'm doing for Halloween. Look at that. Carl says, I booked my London ticket last week. Thank you, Carl. Look forward to meeting you in London. That's going to be fun. That is going to be fun. All right. So let's talk about this party, and then we're going to get into the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Okay? The party, boring. I appreciate Jenna Lyons' costume not fitting into what everyone else was going to do. I appreciate her costume. She kept that phone up against her ear the entire night. Or at least that's the way it seemed. So on one side of the room, we have Aaron talking about, like, I can't, Jenna's not there for me. She's not a good friend. And I do believe that Aaron told Abe to bring this up to Jenna. She was producing in this moment. And now I'm looking at Aaron like, so did you really have issues with Abe this season? Did you guys really have issues? Now I don't believe it. So, yeah. Abe brings the issues up to Jenna. Jenna and Aaron eventually have a conversation about their issues, their non-issues, and they resolve it. Again, something very similar to what I noticed with Heather Gay on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and Angie. And I noticed this a couple of episodes ago with Heather Gay and Mary Cosby. And I wonder if productions like they're saying, okay, you guys are going to resolve this issue. It just feels like it's too easy, too clean. Like we appreciate it. We appreciate problem and then, problem solving, conflict resolution. However, it felt unnatural. It felt produced. You guys aren't great actresses. Just saying. What did you guys think of Jessel's costumes? I thought they were okay. My favorites had to be Brynn and had to be Sai's. Those costumes were my favorites. High Vibe says, if you're going to host a party and change outfits 4 times, then bring some drama or over-the-topness. Jessel is beautiful, but her personality is blah and superficial. High Vibe, we see each other a lot today. I agree, but, people hyped up Jessel last season like she was Mother, and I was just like, are you guys seeing something that I don't see? But again, it was her birthday party, fine. Host the birthday party. All the housewives have to host something. Speaking of housewives, Look, they don't need promotion for me, but you know what? First of all, they announced Sonya and Marlo from Real Housewives of Atlanta, formerly from Real Housewives of Atlanta. They announced that they have a new podcast coming out. Okay. Not interested. However, I will say when they announced that Cynthia Bailey and Crystal Kung Minkoff were coming out with the podcast, I was like, I'm so tired of all the podcasts. Mind you, I have a podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. But I've been had a podcast, okay? I'm not Johnny come lately when it comes to a podcast. But I will say I listened to Crystal and Cynthia's podcast, Humble Brag. It's actually an easy listen, maybe because they have pleasant voices and they have pleasant personalities. And I think this is one place where we're able to really get to see Crystal's personality. I like it. And if you haven't listened to it, it's an easy listen. If you've been looking to get into a new podcast, this is not sponsored at all. But I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, Cynthia and Crystal, so they're giving sort of like behind the scenes of their process, how they, navigated being a housewife and things like that. And I'm like, this is actually pretty interesting. So good for them. Humble Brag with Cynthia Bailey and Crystal Kung Minkoff. Okay, I will maybe if I will try and listen to Marlo and Sonya's podcast. However, I never found them likable on Real Housewives of Atlanta. So never mind a podcast. Oh, Marlo's selling her townhouse. Marlo, is money good over there? You got a podcast coming. You're selling the house. Look, all things can happen. Doesn't mean you're having money issues. But I just have a feeling. Because remember what Kandi said. Remember when Marlo wasn't on Real Housewives of Atlanta? Allegedly, Kandi said that she was she was desperate for money at the time. She was trying, and Kandi kept money in her pocket by getting her that other deal over at the other network. So the money with Marlo is a little interesting. Okay. I agree. Train with May says Cynthia kept interrupting Crystal, but that can be worked out. I actually felt in the first episode it was Crystal interrupting Cynthia a lot, and then in the second episode I felt like it was Cynthia doing it. They don't really know each other like that, but they will figure it out. That's just over talking. That used to happen on The View. How many seasons later we're here at The View and they've mastered sometimes how to have conversations. So I think that will be fine. Oh, thank you, Carl. Carl says, Kempire, you don't need to listen to Sonya and Marlo's podcast. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you. But I will say, I didn't think too much of Crystal and Cynthia's podcast until I listened to it, and I liked it. But I'll be back to listen because I feel like I learned stuff about the Housewives and how it's produced and things like that. I say all that to say, Aaron and Jenna resolved their issues. Bryn left early for a spray tan appointment. What other issues did they have at this party? Who cares? Look, who cares? I mean, how many minutes did I give them today? I gave them 30 minutes today. I mean, I talked about some other things in between, but I gave them 30 minutes today. Yay! Can we get to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? I keep forgetting to add the timeline, the timestamp for you guys, but you'll be strong. Listen to the entire thing. Stop skipping around, okay? All right. LV says YouTube is being shady. I didn't get my live notification. I think it's been an ongoing thing for years with YouTube. It's okay, though. You're here now. Shout out to the replay crew as well. Shout out to our channel members. Become a member today at TheKempire.com/join. Shout out to our King's Guards. Shout out to our subscribers. And shout out to those of you watching in the bushes. We appreciate you guys as well. All right. Are we ready to talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? All right. Drop your snowflakes in the live chat. Those of you that are watching on TikTok and on Twitch and Twitter as well. Drop your snowflakes in the live chat. Happy Halloween. Let me take a sip. All right. Salt Lake City. I did take notes. So let me open my notes for Salt Lake City. So we start where we ended last week, and that is at Angie K's anniversary party. And we see this fight between John and Justin. I think they both were wrong. I think Lisa Barlow was wrong for going up to Justin talking about Whitney. What do you expect him to say? Don't talk about my wife. I said last week I didn't love the aggressive nature of Justin sort of like moving towards Lisa, so I don't blame John getting defensive. However, later on when it came up again after Mary gave her prayer, y'all notice when Mary speaks regularly, it's kind of awkward, but when she gets into the spirit of the Lord, it's actually kind of soothing. Look, it's actually kind of... No? You didn't get the Holy Ghost? Speaking of ghosts? Like, no? All right, fine. Look, fine. I actually was like, oh, look at Mary with the... Okay, yes, Mary. Yes, faithful leader. Yes. I'm playing. I'm being facetious. Okay? Ooh, Kimberly says, Lisa was definitely wrong, so she got what she deserved. I don't mind Justin addressing Lisa because she came up to him. What I didn't like was the fact I also felt like there was a level of physical aggression coming towards Lisa, which I didn't love. However, when it comes up again after Mary's prayer, and it comes up again, John he makes contact with Justin. And I felt like, okay, that's too much. But didn't I predict last week that we were going to have a sit down between the husbands? And that's exactly what we get this week. A sit down between the husbands. Who cares? It was such a non-scene. But John wants an apology. John wants Justin to apologize to Lisa. No. I think you guys you two apologize to each other. You shouldn't have gotten involved. I don't think that Justin needs to apologize to Lisa. And I don't think Lisa needs to apologize to Justin. I think you guys could have had that conversation and just deaded it. Why did they spend a good 2 minutes watching John park? Was that a bad parking job? I thought he was being thoughtful. You know, some people just pull into a space and they're clearly in the street. I thought he was being thoughtful. I have to say, John, he's not much of a looker, like in the face-wise. I like how he keeps himself together, though. Like, I like his style. His son is like that, too, Jack. I like how he keeps himself together. I was like, okay, look at you jumping out this Range Rover, looking, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, I see it, Lisa. I see it. All right. Anyways, so I just wanted to mention the apology that does not need to happen, but we'll get back there. So the anniversary party, Mary does the prayer. It leads to more of a fight. As you know, we already saw that Lisa had her cybersecurity guy on the phone. I saw that Meredith says, I have a cybersecurity guy too. She said that on Watch What Happens Live. Y'all wouldn't need a cybersecurity guy if y'all weren't playing these reindeer games on Salt Lake City. You guys are so mad at Monica. Look, you guys are so mad at Monica, but you guys are doing the same thing. You think you are above it because you're a housewife? And you're not the actual blogger doing it? All of you are talking to bloggers. Do I believe that Lisa Barlow did anything? Honestly, I don't know why. I really don't believe it. And it's not because I believe that Whitney's necessarily lying. I just feel like I don't really feel like Lisa did this. I think Lisa does stuff. I just don't think she did this. I think somebody on the cast definitely did it. I just don't think it's Lisa. And I have no hard evidence to prove otherwise. I'm just like, I don't think it's Lisa in this particular thing. But Lisa's reaction, why was Lisa crying at the end of that party? Did you see Electra, Angie's daughter, just looking around like, what is this? Angie's just like, y'all don't need to be doing any of this stuff right now in my house. This is probably why she's selling the house. Nasser says they're all guilty. They are. That's why they all have cybersecurity guys. Julie says that Lisa did it. Julie, thank you so much for the super chat. Julie says, replay crew regarding Salt Lake City. Perfect timing. Heather is the new Tamara, and I would never have my husband apologize to Lisa. Love Bronwyn's story and age gap, as mine is 28 years. Really? Look at you having a similar situation, Julie. Oh, that's why he's your sugar daddy. If you're new here, you don't understand the conversations that Julie and I are having, okay? Everyone else understands because Julie always in here spending his money. Thank you for the super chat. I love it. Okay. Lex says Heather definitely gave the story to the bloggers. I wouldn't be surprised. We see what Heather's doing this season. Heather is clearly trying to produce on camera, so I wouldn't be surprised that she's trying to produce off camera. So if you listen to the podcast version of my recap last week, I did add Dana Wilkie's podcast where she alludes that it's one of the other housewives, not Lisa Barlow, only for us to find out later from another Bravo blogger that Dana Wilkie wasn't the originator of the Whitney story. So I don't know how much I believe Dana Wilkie at all, to be honest with you. Okay? So I don't know if I believe necessarily it's Heather, but I wouldn't be surprised that it's Heather because we see her producing right in front of our faces. So I wouldn't be surprised she's behind the scenes trying to narrate different stories or create different stories. Just saying. Okay. I wrote down, why was Lisa crying at the end? She was very emotional. I still don't think that Lisa did it. Did Lisa Barlow get to my brain? No, I just don't think that she did it. I don't think she did this in regards to the jewelry stuff. All right. John and Lisa are at home. We also have Whitney and Justin at home. Justin is pouring out all the Vita tequila and all the beverages made by Lisa Barlow. He's like, yeah, we're not supporting their business. They don't support your business. John is like, I got a mouthy wife, so I had to defend her. He's like, oh, there's about to be another fight. There's something about John and Lisa Barlow's relationship that feels, I want to say inauthentic, but I don't know if it's even that. There's almost like Dr. Terry and Heather Dubrow. Something about that relationship feels a little too manicured. And I'm not saying that, they don't have their issues and things like that, but it's just something about that relationship. Lisa says if the tables were turned in regards to what happened at Angie's party, John wouldn't have went after Whitney the way that the way that Justin did to her. She also says that Whitney. I thought this was funny. That Lisa says Whitney wants this to be on camera. She wants this incident to happen. She feels like it's going to sell her jewelry, like 100,000 pieces of jewelry. She's like, it's not going to happen. I agree. I agree. It's not going to happen. All right. So we have those two separate scenes happening at the same time. So they're talking about what happened the night before. Then we have this scene with Heather and Brittany at Beauty Lab. And this is where Brittany talks about Jared showing up. I did watch the first episode of the after show. I watched a little bit of the second one, but I didn't get a chance to finish before this live. So we'll talk about it next week. But Brittany said she was shocked that Jared showed up. Word on the street, Jared lives an hour away from Angie K. Yet he showed up fully dressed and ready for this Mob Wives inspired anniversary party. On the after show, we found out that Brittany and Jared were not together anymore. We also found out that she has how many? She says 10,000 guys she's talking to on these dating apps. I don't know if I believe that at all. We also found out that Jared has a small member. Well, that was disappointing. I'm sure for Brittany as well. But here we are, episode 7 of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and we're still talking about Brittany and her storyline. Why? Look, and I'm not a big Brittany fan like that, but in my business sense, in my producer mind, I'm like, she should have had a snowflake. And I know she's not invited to this group trip because of Bronwyn, but still, she's carried this first part of the season on her back. I hope she got more than what a normal friend of would get, because we've been talking about her storyline since episode 1. And I'm not saying that it is a great storyline. I'm not saying that Brittany isn't a, airhead. When y'all called her airhead in the chat, so that's what came to mind. All right? So I just feel like based on what she's bringing,
Why doesn't she have a full-time position on the show? Maybe she will next season. We literally had another scene with her family later on in this episode. So Brittany and Heather have a conversation about, her relationship issues with Jared. And then Heather brings up, I thought you were going to focus more on like your daughters and your relationship with your daughters. Okay. Well, again, we already talked about this. Heather brought this up. A lot of times in the Mormon religion, women value their husbands because that's their only way of getting into heaven more than their children, which has caused a rift between Brittany and her daughters. So Brittany didn't love that comment, but they quickly got over it. But I kind of agree. She says she feels alone. She lost her mother not too long ago, and her relationship with her daughters are strained. So I get why she might be sort of like feeling alone. So she says that she feels alone, and she gets emotional about that. Fine. Look. Okay. What are you guys saying in the live chat? Oh, Train with Maine says, I didn't know she had kids until this episode. That means you weren't paying attention in like episode 2. They talked about this. They talked about when Heather was saying about in the Mormon religion why she's not surprised that Brittany has a strained relationship with her kids. Nasser says, Brittany has a story and I'm intrigued. Me too. Okay. Britt says, the way that Brittany was acting, I thought it was big. And still acting over Jared. Well, we have to keep in mind, too, what's big to someone and what's not big to someone else could be two different things. They never said the size. But then I'm a little concerned regardless. Atlanta Mommy on TikTok says that he should have kept the tequila, meaning Justin, when he was pouring out. He should have kept the tequila or gave it away. Like, why are we wasting it? He was being a housewife. He was being dramatic by pouring it out in the sink. It's like, come on. He was being a housewife, being messy, calling Jared for the party. Like, what are you doing for work now, Justin? Y'all bought a brand new house. You just lost your job. I know you got a new one. And Whitney last season was spending up all the money you guys had. How are you buying a new house? Oh, because she's marking up her Alibaba jewelry like 1,000 times the actual price. Allegedly, I don't know. Maybe that's how they're doing. Are you guys buying Brittany Rose stuff? You guys told me you're not. Guys, if you're just joining us, happy Halloween. This is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of New York and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Yes, we're doing one. Because I'm glad that I'm doing one. Okay, you look, y'all barely show up for this one. Just saying. All right, but shout out to the replay crew. We know people got work. People got things to do. Football Cat says Whitney told Justin to text Jared. They're all in it together. Look, they're all in it together. Oh, your listener says I prefer Utah's homegirl, but I think she's coming to a brand new. Oh, is that who's coming to Salt Lake City's real estate show? Utah's homegirl. Well, that is interesting. You know what? Kathy says I thought Kempire was Rudy Giuliani. Kathy, I'm blocking you. No, I'm blocking you. Damn it. Yes, Enter is Halloween. You didn't know? Look, you didn't know? Did I do that? Sorry. All right. Mary Jane says Lisa threw Whitney's jewelry in the garbage can so Justin can pour out Lisa and John's liquor. We don't know if that's what actually happened. We don't recall the man saying that on the call. That's what Whitney said. So we don't know if he really threw it in the garbage can. Hey, Miss Bernice. Miss Bernice, thank you for being a member for 29 months. Miss Bernice says, I'm tired of Heather and her two-faced behavior. She's never changing, and Lisa did it with her twin, Meredith. John is a Stepford husband, no personality. No personality. Okay. All right. Bronwyn and her husband, Todd. First of all, why is Bronwyn picking up her husband from the airport in different costumes? And not sexy costumes. Random, funny, cartoonish costumes. He loves it, though. He loves it. I was not ready for that. Who is filming this? Did production actually go to the airport with her multiple times in the time that they were filming and film her picking up her husband in these costumes? I thought that was interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. Look, I was just like, I still like Bronwyn on the show. She brings a lot. In this scene alone with Todd. Todd doesn't seem like he minces words either. I can see how they work. But we get to see that. She also tells Todd that she's planning this group trip for the couples, and she's already planning not to invite Brittany because her and Brittany haven't connected. All right? And she says that she's on the fence with inviting Heather because they're not in a good place either. Then I thought to myself, I was like, well, she's not inviting Brittany, maybe because, remember, when they start filming, they don't necessarily always know if they're full-time or if they're part-time. I wonder if this was Bronwyn's way of Xing out Brittany. Yes, we know that they haven't gotten along, but was this her final blow saying, like, I'm not going to invite you and I'm going to cut you from being on the show? Remember, the fights that they're fighting about sometimes is more about the show than what they're actually fighting about. And she knows that she can't necessarily ice out Heather, and she's got to give a little bit more grace to Heather because Heather's an OG. So she says she's going to have a conversation with Heather, which we see at the end of this episode. But then they start talking about Bronwyn's daughter, Gwendolyn, and this new development that happened. And Todd talks about that. He feels like Gwendolyn's father's family are despicable. And we already found out that Gwen's father's family were already being kind of weird towards her. Like, we want to meet you, but we want to make sure that you're in the right headspace or that you want to meet us and that you've let go of the past. So I thought his response was very, because I'm sure he's known Gwendolyn. How old is Gwendolyn? 18? They've been together over 10 years. Like, he's known her since she was a little girl. So he feels like more of a father because she's never had a father. Remember, her father disappeared in their lives from even before she gave birth because the family was like, we want nothing to do with this child. So Todd doesn't like them at all. He refers to them as despicable. Bronwyn says she's concerned that Gwen is going to be re-traumatized now with this whole situation coming back up and them coming into their lives. But she's trying to also navigate not putting her own issues with the family onto Gwen, which I respect because we already know a lot of times parents do that and don't care. And they're just sort of like, I don't like them, so you don't like them either. So she's really trying to do a good job of navigating and encouraging her to get to know them on some level, but she doesn't blame them. She doesn't blame Gwen for feeling like a little off put by the way that they've been acting. Okay, so we had that conversation. Lisa and her sister Denise. Apparently this is a sister that she's close with because her sister used to live in Utah. So I was kind of like, I didn't expect this scene, but I was here for it. But I'm even here for Lisa's own storyline because she's struggling. She doesn't love the fact that Angie mom shamed her. And Angie, you did. No parent likes to hear that because I'm sure Lisa already has her guilt for whatever reason as a working mom, as, busy. I don't know. But Lisa opens up to her sister Denise about the guilt that she feels because when her son Jack was in Utah, Jack and Henry were very close. That was his person. So now that Jack is off on his mission, Henry's sort of like on his own. And she talks about a birthday party that they were planning, and she sent out the invites late. So she felt like, was it her fault that no one showed up? They went to another party. And he was really hurt by it. I was like, oh, this is so sad. This is so sad. Sidebar. Remember the storyline where Mary Cosby says something derogatory about Henry? Apparently, word on the street is that they're going to edit down that scene. Or that storyline. I mean, they're not going to completely get rid of it, word on the street, because it won't make sense by the end of the season. But they're probably not going to throw Mary Cosby under the bus, because did you guys notice that there was no Mary Cosby in this week's episode? Blasphemy! Not our leader not being on this episode. Did you notice though? I mean, she was on this episode because she was at the beginning at the party, but for the most part, we didn't have any other scenes with Mary Cosby. That's why we got the prayer at the beginning. She needed some time off after that prayer. Okay? Daphne says, I felt for Lisa in that scene. I felt for her too, because I know, not as someone that has kids, but I know a lot of people, a lot of parents, a lot of working parents struggle with, did I do enough? Was I a good parent? So I felt for Lisa, talking about this in this, and then probably being a little triggered. I don't know if she would have been triggered before, maybe a couple seasons ago when Jack was still under one roof, but she was definitely more triggered hearing about Angie K talking about her parenting, because she already feels like, especially after this particular incident. All right. In another scene, Whitney, Angie K, and Bronwyn go for a walk. I like the jacket on Bronwyn. Bronwyn jokes that she was hoping that someone would have hit her nose at this birthday, not birthday party, the anniversary party, so she can get another nose job. You know what? Whitney says that she's pissed and that Lisa and John owe Justin an apology. Okay. I mean, I don't know if anyone owes anyone an apology. I feel like you guys just should be water under the bridge. Okay, let the men figure it out. You guys need to figure things out. But Lisa seems like she is completely done with Whitney. And that never works on a reality show, especially on Real Housewives. But she makes it seem like she is completely done with Whitney. I feel like there's other things that we've seen on Real Housewives of Potomac where I could understand a housewife saying, we're done. This jewelry, social media blogger scandal feels like not enough for Lisa to be completely done with Whitney. Right? I'm like, I don't think that's that big of a deal. All right. Moving on. Britt says, yes, I noticed that they didn't show Mary. Yeah, we didn't really have any other scenes with Mary this episode, but I did remember she was there in the beginning. Yolissa says, Bronwyn being 38 on her third nose job looking for a fourth is disturbing. Well, apparently people get addicted to plastic surgery, very much like with tattoos and things like that as well. Guys, if you just joined us, don't forget to like the video. It's easy, it's free, and don't forget you can hear an audio version of our recaps and special episodes on the Kempire podcast. Make sure you subscribe today. While you're there, help us get to 1,000 reviews on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Give us a 5-star review. 5 stars, nothing less. All right? Atlanta Mommy says, I definitely don't think Justin owes an apology. Lisa was yelling at him and responded. If anything, I think the conversation that Justin and John had was enough. They shouldn't have gotten involved. Lisa shouldn't have involved Justin. If anything, Lisa could be like, I'm sorry for even involving you and coming up to you like that. I could see her apologizing. Okay. So Whitney says that she believes that her husband's owed an apology. Whitney says that she's narrowed down it to being Lisa. She's still harping on the social media stuff. And she says she's narrowed it down to Lisa Barlow based off the conversation that she had. So, again, I don't know if I believe that. I just, for some reason, I just don't believe. Like, the evidence that's been provided doesn't prove anything to me. Right? Like, the evidence that's been given to us is like, I don't see how. Look. I don't see how. It's Lisa. I don't. Especially if what's her name is your source, Dana Wilkie. Just saying. Whitney says that Bronwyn will be because Bronwyn says her experience of Lisa, because she also very much like me, but she knows Lisa. Her experience of Lisa, this is not something that she's never seen Lisa to be that person. And Whitney says, well, that's because she wants to have your life, so she's not going to treat you that way. And then I said to myself, I could see that because we remember when we were first introduced to Bronwyn, literally Bronwyn didn't want to even be friends with Lisa. So Lisa wants to be Bronwyn's friend the same way that Heather wants to be Lisa's friend for whatever reason. Exactly. Yolissa says, what evidence? I feel like there is none. That's probably why I feel like I just don't believe this. But then part of me thinks what Lisa said is right, that somehow Whitney wants to make this her storyline to get some sales. I don't know if that's going to help Whitney, because people are not going to want to pay for Alibaba's stuff when they can go to Alibaba and get it from themselves. Maybe. AD says, Angie K handled her party like a pro when they started acting like children and not adults. I mean, she did. I have to give it to Angie K. Speaking of Angie K, in this scene, she talks about her issues with Heather. Okay? Where is it? Angie says that she's not happy with the way that Heather's been meddling in everyone's situation, because Heather is working overtime, and I feel like a lot of people are turning on Heather this season as well, because we were turning on her last season, but definitely this season. And I have to say, Angie K really has been clocking Heather. So at Brittany's church gathering, again, this is part of the reason why I like Heather being on the show, because she gives us perspective when it comes to the Mormon religion, but also customs outside of the religion. So they had this gathering at Brittany's home. Again, another reason why I'm like, why is Brittany not a full-time housewife? It just doesn't make any sense. But fine. So she has this gathering at her home. Heather's like, I've held functions like this twice a week when I was a part of the religion. Okay? Angie arrives and she brings wine for this Mormon function. And Brittany's like, why would she bring wine to a Mormon's house? We don't drink. And Angie's like, we've seen Brittany drink. Every time we've had a function, Brittany's drinking wine. And then, of course, they show all those different times. I'm like, oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. But I have to say, this was really nice. It was nice to see. This is what separates Real Housewives of Salt Lake City from any of the other cities. It's a very different lifestyle in Salt Lake City. And we get to see this function. And then immediately I said, oh, my gosh, someone check in on Lisa Barlow. We got another housewife on Salt Lake City that can sing. Only after I tweeted that did I go on Instagram and, oh my gosh, I apologize. Faces of Bravo, I think had it, or Faces of Reality. Yeah, Faces of Reality had this on their Instagram. They had footage of Brittany actually singing on stage. She's actually a singer. She has a beautiful voice, but I could tell just from that scene when she was singing the hymn. I was like, Brittany has a beautiful voice. All right. So I thought this was a lovely little event. We get to see some of Brittany's family. Of course, they want to use this opportunity to talk out their issues. Heather talks about Bronwyn. Sidebar, Brittany, part of her storyline this season is the fact that her relationship issues, and she talks about her parents' relationship. They met each other within like a week. They were engaged. They got married within like a few months, and then they were married for like 50 plus years before her mother passed away. So she wants that as well. And it's like, okay, that makes kind of sense why she's struggling. Like she in her mind thought that was going to be her life, and that's not her life right now. Britt says, Lisa can't sing. Yeah, but she's supposed to be the singer of Salt Lake City. Only for us to find that Brittany is the actual singer. Like, she has an amazing voice. Anyways, and I could tell just from her singing that hymn, only to find out that there's actual old video footage of Brittany singing over the years. Like singing, like on the stage, like Broadway-like. Great. Okay. All right. You guys are flooding in the chat. All right. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's easy and it's free. Okay, so at Brittany's church gathering that she was holding, Heather and Angie have their own conversation. What I appreciated about Angie in this moment, she really was trying to hold Heather accountable. She was like, I feel like, first of all, I've known Heather since we were 15 years old, and she's always wanted to sit at the cool kids table. Everything that we've been saying, she literally laid out in this conversation. And she's like, I feel like you're defending Lisa. It's very similar to how you would defend other people, like Jen Shaw. And in Heather's confessional, she's like, well, you know, she has a bad habit of blindly being loyal to people like the church, Jen Shaw. But I appreciate Angie saying what we've been saying about Heather this season, last season. It's just like, get out of Lisa's butt. Get out of her butt, because why don't you have the same loyalty to Angie? Why are you not giving Angie the same grace? And literally, she's like, I did cringe when you mom shamed Lisa. And when we watched back the scene, you didn't say anything to Angie. You really didn't even cringe. If you didn't like what Angie had to say about Lisa, especially you being a mom, I think you would have had every right to be like, okay, let's not mom shame her. And again, we're watching an edited show. Producers could be just giving her a bad edit, and they could have taken that out. I'm giving you grace, Heather. However, you didn't say anything. You didn't say anything. Just saying. But I appreciate Angie in this moment. This is where I was like, this is the Angie that I like. This is the Angie that I like. Because she was saying everything that we've been thinking about Heather during the season and her relationship with Lisa. And she's like, you know, Lisa and I, when the group trip from last season, they've developed a new friendship. I don't believe that either. I think they've developed an alliance. They developed an alliance. But what I did notice, very much what we saw with Heather and Mary Cosby, was them having this argument, Angie K and Heather, and then wrapping it up in a nice little bow and ending it there. That felt a little pre-produced, and I can see it in their faces. And I was just like, okay, but again, if Angie didn't say everything that she needed to say or really speak her truth, then I probably would have been like, it's feeling like Aaron from Real Housewives of New York. But I like the fact that Angie was like, well, no, I've known Heather a long time. She's always wanted to be friends with Lisa. She always wanted to be at the cool kids table. She's like, I also don't feel like you're giving me the same grace that you're giving Lisa. And then Heather's just like, oh, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Well, maybe I need to show up better for you then. Is she? No. Look, is she? No. All right. We're not going to talk about Justin and John's convo. We already talked about it at the beginning of our Real Housewives of Salt Lake City recap. I don't need to rehash it. It was a non-scene for me, but fine. They had the scene. I'm glad they had the scene because next week's episode, we see that they're going to be having a couples trip. It's been a long time. There's not a lot of cities where we can have a couples trip where the husbands go. It's been a long time. I mean, I'm trying to think now. Miami, I mean, technically, they could do it, but they haven't done it. Beverly Hills, they can't do it now. There really aren't a lot of husbands left. There's a bunch of single gals on that show. New York, not really. New Jersey, that was probably like one of the last ones where they would do like a couples trip, but that cast got so divided. It was like divided couples trip. What else? What else? Potomac, none of them got husbands. I'm just saying. So I'm actually looking forward to next week's Salt Lake City show because it's a group trip with the entire husbands. Yolissa says, will Robert Sr. make it? Probably not. Look, probably not. Probably not. Did we see Mary Cosby there? Now I can't remember. Now I can't remember. All right. Heather and Bronwyn. So we go to Bronwyn's beautiful, quirky home. I actually like her home. Is it my taste? No. But somehow she makes it work. It's still under construction. However, Bronwyn, you're nasty. You're nasty. I saw a dog poop. Like, she has 6 dogs. 6. And there's poop and urine on the floor. You're nasty. I'm sorry. Nope. We like you, Bronwyn, but you're nasty. Can you imagine what that house smells like? And again, we're watching an edited show. Did the dog have an accident and she didn't clean it up because she has 6 dogs and she didn't notice it? She probably didn't smell it. I can't. You're nasty. You're nasty. No. Poop and urine on the floor of this, I'm thinking, $1 million home on the floor. I agree with Heather. Before you had me come over, you should have had the pooper scooper coming over. Honestly, before anyone filmed, I probably would have had the house, first of all, I would have someone there looking after the dogs. If you have this level of money, I would have someone there taking care of that. That was gross. The dogs are cute, but that was gross. And then you have food sitting out, not being guarded. The dogs look... For all we know, the dogs could have licked that food. For all we know. You have 6 dogs walking around that house, pooping and urinating, and you got food just sitting out in the open on a low table. You're nasty. Kay says, you can't be rich and your home is a biohazard. Oh, exactly. Football. It says, just like Stanberry. Nasty. Gross. And football says the dogs ate the food. When Heather was trying to eat, the dog was smelling her food. So I was like, you had that sitting on the table and you have 6 dogs walking around and they're pooping and urinating everywhere. Did it smell, Heather? I mean, Heather didn't say that it smelled. But that's gross. I'm sorry. But Heather's gross. Look, that's what she deserves. All right? So Bronwyn and Heather sit down for a conversation, and Bronwyn does take some admission to being messy, and she apologizes to Heather for that. But she wants Heather to show some sort of ownership, and Heather refuses. She's just like, no. No, and she's like, well, the reason why I'm having this conversation with you is because I'm inviting the group on a trip for next week, and I don't know where I stand with you. So Heather takes that as, am I here to sing for my supper so that you'll invite me to this party, to this group trip? And honestly, that's not how I took it. But the fact that Heather said that, I was like, well, I felt like Bronwyn was just like, well, before we go on a group trip that I'm hosting, at least for us to be amicable. But it's a group trip with the husbands. Heather doesn't have a husband. Just saying. I mean, look, Mary Cosby would be coming alone too, so I think they would be fine. But next week's episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City looks really interesting. But I have to say, I did rewound the fight between Bronwyn and Heather multiple times. Because I'm like, Heather, what's your issue? Like, you've been coming for Bronwyn since the beginning. And I think that's partially because Bronwyn's a newbie, and I do feel like the OGs on all of these shows haze people. We just saw this on Potomac, where Mia, who's not an OG, was trying to haze the newbies. So I felt like that's what Heather's trying to do with Bronwyn, but you chose the wrong one. Or maybe you chose the right one, because Bronwyn keeps getting you together. She's taking ownership. She's now a fan favorite, and now everyone hates you. Hate's a strong word. But everyone is just not liking you this season. We see what you're doing, Heather. You're pre-producing. You're not self-aware. You're dragging out a fight that we don't care about. You lied about the black eye. You're the reason why Monica, Reality Von Teese, Garcia, Darnell Delgado, Jussie Smollett is not back. But now Bronwyn's here and we don't care. Sorry, Monica. But it's true. It's true. Yolissa says that Heather is hazing her. That's what it feels like. So does Heather end up going on the trip? I don't remember seeing her. Good that she's not. If anything, ice her out. Ice her out. Because if the tables were turned, I think she would do that to Bronwyn. And I'm sure if Heather's hosting anything this season, she's going to probably ice Bronwyn out. But please understand that's going to turn the fans on you because we're liking Bronwyn. Besides her nasty house with the dog poop and the urine everywhere. And I don't get it. Maybe because she sees how Lisa sees Bronwyn, and she's just like, I don't like it. She's like, I don't like it. Well, look, happy Halloween, y'all. Oh. All right, I'm going to drop the call-in link for those that want to call in and share their thoughts, okay? Happy Halloween. This is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of New York City and Salt Lake City. If you're part of the replay crew, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to let us know how you would rate this week's episode. Live chat, how would you rate this week's episode from 1 to 10? Those of you that are watching on Twitch and Twitter and on TikTok. I have to say, New York City, I would give a 4. And Salt Lake City, I would give an 8. I thought it was good. And not because of you, Heather. Not because of you. What is Heather's storyline? What is her storyline? Besides her trying to produce stuff every season. Over her. I did see that Lisa Barlow did an interview with Entertainment Tonight, and she did talk about Jen Shaw. She had more favorable things to say about Jen Shaw than Monica. And she said if she had to choose between the two of who's worse, she would say Monica Reality Von Teese. Jen Shaw is in prison, federal prison, from stealing from old people. But Monica is worse? Monica is worse? Okay. Girl. Girl. Guys, we have almost, 800 of you watching on YouTube alone. We're almost at 300 likes. Let's get to 300 likes. If you're a member of the channel, I'm going to drop the call link for you guys on the community tab. So let me just do that right now. Hold on. All right, members, we're going to drop the call link for you on the community tab. All right, and you will have 1 minute to share your thoughts, live chat. Let's get to 300 likes, and I'll drop the call link for you guys there. All right. Excuse me. Guys, don't forget to also check out some of the videos that we posted yesterday. We had quite a few Diddy-related stories. We even went live last night and ended up talking about Tamron Hall. So if you missed that, go watch last night's impromptu live as well. And don't forget, we are still raising money for Black Women's Health Imperative in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I did extend our end date to next Tuesday. So if you haven't donated already, you still have some time. Today's the last day of October. We're trying to reach our goal. And we are still like 1,400 or 1,300 short. So last year we raised $3,600. This year I lowered it because we started late. However, 100% of your donation goes to the organization. So if you can, please share our videos. Please, you can check out the link on some of the other videos that we've already posted.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Podcast. As always, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for everything Kempire Radio, head on over to KempireRadio.com.